Well, welcome to the Cleveland and Appling region, soon to be nations, and all the other guests on tonight's call. You're going to be a region and a nation too this year. I see it. I have the vision for it. It is one of my God-sized dreams to see every one of you become a VP. And I know that he can do that. And so I look forward to that happening. And I'm just so excited to share the book tonight. And so we're going over You're Made for God-Sized Dreams, and we're on chapter 3 right now. And this chapter is The Heart of a Dreamer. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And so all of you should be able to see it. And there are far, far better things ahead than anything we leave behind. Remember that. You have great, great things ahead of you. And you may have been through lots of struggles and lots of things may have happened in your life. But that's just preparing you for the future and getting you ready for amazing things. So I want to walk through with each one of you about the heart of a dreamer. And I want you to look, if you look in your book, it says, I've met thousands of dreamers. Some are so quiet and some can barely hear them. Some people can barely even hear them because they're so quiet in the crowd. Some are loud, and that would probably be me. And as they speak, everyone turns their way. Not necessarily my way, but some are young. Some just are starting their journey in their lives, and others have experienced decades of dreaming and are looking forward to leaving a legacy. Some are stay-home moms. Others are world-traveling businessmen or women. Some don't wear makeup and love just absolutely love the rugged outdoors. Others have every nail done and to perfection, and then they think the day at the spa is their ultimate adventure. Some are right-brained. Some are creative. Others are left-brained. Can somebody please mute their phone? If everybody, I hear some talking. I'm so sorry. Please go and mute. Thank you. But some are political thinkers. There's just every personality out there that are on this planet. And guess what? God loves them all. God loves the variety. You are specially made by God. And all of those dreamers have wonderful things about them, but they have one aspect that is absolutely the same, and it is their heart. So let's talk about you, the dreamer, tonight, and what lies within you, and what makes you so different and yet so similar that to each one of you on this call. And even to the people that were at GTC, I looked around that stadium and I thought, wow, there's 18,000 people. And we're all dreamers, right? Every single one of us in that arena, we're dreamers. And it's the heart that we have that makes us all alike in one special way or another. So I want you to open your hearts, dear friend and dreamer, and let's dive into this book and let's talk about the type of people that God-sized dreamers really are. God-sized dreamers are faithful where they are. And I love this story about the prophet Samuel when God sent him to go find and anoint a new king. And Samuel arrived at the household with lots of sons, good-looking ones, tall ones, impressive ones. But as he passed each one by, Samuel sensed that he had not yet found the one that God had sent him there for. And he said to the man, he said, "Don't you have any more sons?" And he said, "Well, yes, I do. But there is one more, but he's the youngest, and he's not even worth meeting. He's out in the fields with the sheep." And Samuel demanded that he bring that son to him. And the shepherd boy that was brought to Samuel was David and became the great king. And God showed us this truth, that people look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And remember that. you're not trying to be somebody else. You're trying to be who God created you to be, and let your heart dive deep and let God work through you and work in your heart. And I wonder if, when David was sitting under those stars with his sheep, if he really thought about being that person that would be king one day. But you know what he did? He just learned to be faithful right where God had him. So whatever it is you're going through, I want you to remember to be faithful anyway. You're serving, you're learning, you're loving, you're growing, and that's where you're supposed to be. You know, what I think about this is that I looked at the people that were at the Global Training Conference and I thought, you know what? These people aren't settling. They're not settling for the status quo. They are choosing to thrive where they are today, as well as dreaming big. You know, in this book, it says dreams can be seductive, and they can make us trade out today for an unknown future. They can turn our thoughts away from what's right in front of us. But I want you to remember that it doesn't happen for the big dreamers, for the ones that have God-sized dreams. You're a God-sized dreamer because you're on here. I know it. These people on this call tonight, I know every single one of you. And oh my gosh. Julie Wilson, I love you. You are a God-sized dreamer. You guys, to be a God-sized dreamer, that means you can make a difference anywhere you're at. What you're doing right now is not small. It's what God has for you, and it's big, and it's just may lead you to something even bigger. And I want to thank every single one of you for doing what you're doing. It's huge. It's going to change lives. And if you think that what you're doing right now in Arbonne is about you, you're wrong. What you're doing in Arbonne right now is about the 18,000 people that are going to be in an arena one day, and they're going to call you their leader, and they're going to say, I am here because that lady right there on stage did not quit. That man right there teaching and training on stage did not quit. And we are under those people, all because you didn't quit. God-sized dreamers, they keep their hearts open. And in this world, you will have trouble. You will. No one escapes this life without times when tears are going to slip down our cheeks and hope is going to flee from our hearts. We are all going to face disappointment and failure. And I want to let you know that dear friend Julie on this call tonight, she lost her daughter on Friday. And she's on here because she's got a God-sized dream. I want you to keep that family in your prayers, please. Keep that Wilson family and Jana Carpenter in your prayers, and lift them up. But I want you to realize we all face loss, we all face disappointment, and we all will face failure. But guess what God says? This is why Jesus followed those words with 3 more words after he said this. But take heart. In other words, he says, keep the open sign up no matter what. Don't let this world make you shut down and lock up what you are meant to share. Have an open sign, you guys. If you're a God-sized dreamer, that's the choice that you've made, is to have that open sign. I want you to be brave. I want you to be strong. And I want you to be beautiful on the inside. And I love what they say here in the book. And it says, you have gone through hurts in this life and you have kept your heart open. Then you are a remarkable person. And if you're reading this book and you're daring to still dream, then that's exactly what you've done. You are brave and strong and beautiful, and you have made a choice that only few do. And in the face of difficulties, you have managed to guard what matters most and to press ahead with resilience that makes you a force to be reckoned with for the kingdom. For the kingdom. It's hard, you guys. It is hard out there. It's easy to decide to look out for number one. It's easy to push aside our dreams and settle for what's safe. It's easy to plaster a smile on our face. It's easy to never really get close to anyone, but it's hard. It's hard to keep your heart open for a lifetime. It's hard to really let yourself be loved for who you are each and every day. It's hard to keep risking and going after your dreams. It's hard to keep hoping. It's hard to keep praying. But it is amazing what you can do when you face the impossible because you have a God-sized dream. You are the light. You are the light. People are watching you. When you are the light and your heart is open, it lets Jesus shine through you. That glow in itself right there will eliminate a path to the dreams he has given you. So you just keep your open sign open. God-sized dreams are faithful where they are. Who's watching you, do you think? Well, I know for me, first of all, I'd say, of course, God. God's watching me, right? My husband. Who am I most influential to that's watching me? My children. My friends, my team, my family, my neighbors. They're all watching. Every one of them. You may not see them, you may not even know them, but you're encouraging and you're inspiring someone. In a world where dreamers are very rare, you stand out, whether you want to or not. You help others to listen harder to Jesus, to take leaps of faith, to live with passion. You do this without words, by the choice that you make, the desires you pursue, and the joy on your face. And maybe you do it with words, and that wouldn't surprise, in the book she says, that wouldn't surprise me because you're probably an encourager and you have that gift of encouragement. But I want you to remember that words are the things you do, the God-sized dreaming that you're doing right now, that's contagious. And you'd love for everyone that you know. I know, like I've been talking to Tracy and Margaret and Busaina and Michelle this past weekend and the many other people that I visited with. And they all want someone else to catch their vision. And they want to encourage them. And that's hard. But I want you to keep going because that God-sized dreaming is so contagious. And the word encourage actually means to give courage. So I want you to keep giving courage to people out there. Being a God-sized dreamer isn't just beneficial to you. It makes a difference to everyone around you. I want to thank every one of you on here that is an encourager. I know many, many, many of you are. The next one, let's go back. The next one is God-sized dreamers are positive people. Don't you love being around positive people? Oh my gosh, either you're a glass half empty or you're a glass half full. Which are you? Who's filling your glass? Think about that. You know, it's important. What's the most important thing is really who is filling your glass. Is it God? Because if it's God, then that glass is half full. Reality is only part of the equation. You know, we look at that glass and we see half of it in there. And we think, oh, that glass is only half full. it says in this book, they're talking about the fact that reality, it's just only part of it. What matters most is the potential and the limitless God who lives within them. And I'm sorry, I went really fast creating these slides, and because I just got home from GTC, so I have a few misspelled words in here. Because look at all the room left in that glass that can be filled up. So I want you to be optimistic. I want you to know that if you choose to focus on what is good, true, and lovely, then you've made a deliberate and difficult choice to do so. I know that. It is important for you to fill your cup with God. And I love these trainings on Sunday night because I think this gives us a time and an opportunity to really fill our cup each week so that we can turn around and pour it out to others. That's why we have GTC. Even that's why we do the different things we do each week, is because somewhere along the way in those events we get our cup filled. And so I want you to remember that Theodore Roosevelt said, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, or when the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again and again, who knows the great enthusiasm, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly. So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory or defeat." Wow. Are you positive? You are influencing people around you. And I think Heidi and I talked about this when we gathered at GTC. Make sure you're the lifter. Make sure you're the one that's the encourager. Make sure you're the positive. We do not want to be the one causing anyone else to stumble. God-sized dreamers don't do it all. I didn't know this. I have always been the one that says yes to everything. I said yes to Junior League. I said yes to Assistance League. I said yes to volunteering. I said yes to things in the community. I never said no, ever. And it's taken me almost literally since I started doing Arbonne, 10, 11 years to learn I had to say no. Guess what? I'm going to release you. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to do it all. If you're a God-sized dreamer, then you are saying no to things around you in your life. And that's good. They may be good things and they may be great things, but guess what? They're not for you. They are not for you. When we focus on what God truly has called us to do, then we can face at times a lot of guilt, right? I feel guilty sometimes when I'm like, I can't do that. And I feel really bad. I get criticized. And I get very misunderstood. But Holly Girth, wants to remind us that it's a brave choice to say no. I want you to remember, don't settle for someone else's agenda for your life. It's your life. All right, God-sized dreamers don't do it all. They only do what God asks them to do. Not doing it all means that now you can give your all to the one who really matters most. Right? Number 6 is God-sized dreamers feed hungry hearts. Oh, do you know every single person at the Global Training Conference that I talked to shared and was very transparent to me a need that they had. And I think that's the cool thing about when you go to GTC and you see 18,000 people, you learn that every single person in there has a need. Every single one. Bustina shared this weekend so many needs that her and her family and her husband's children and her friends and her country. Oh my gosh, her native country of Africa, all the needs they have. It makes you just feel like, oh my gosh. So I want you to remember, you're feeding someone today. every day that you have that God-sized dream and you get out there and you are brave and you make smart choices and you are being positive, you're feeding someone. And what you do may feel very small and unseen, but it matters. It's making a difference. And, when I trained a few weeks ago, I trained on the old Rita Davenport, or the old Arbonne president, Rita Davenport. What she used to say was, do more so you can have more, share more, give more, love more, and then you can do more again. So it goes round and round and round. So feed the hungry. You have needs too. Go feed them. The next one is God-sized dreamers pursue a different kind of ambition. It's easy to get caught up in the comparison game, and you guys, I do this a lot. And when you're sitting in that room full of vice presidents at the VP meeting that I got to sit in on Thursday morning before the opening ceremony, it can be a little intimidating. But I want you to remember, they're all the same. Everyone is identical inside. They're all similar. They are just pursuing a dream that they have. And I know that society tells us that bigger is better and more is more and getting to the top is the ultimate achievement. And I knew that kind of ambition. And I like this book. It says, she calls my name. She tells me I'm not enough. She blurs my perspective so that I can't see the goodness right in front of me. And she tells me that I must try harder, work longer, go further. And that I am than what I'm actually doing right now. And you guys, these words then need to pop in your head when that person's talking to you in your head. Make it your ambition to lead quietly inside. Lead on the inside quietly, like the Apostle Paul said. You are enough. You're enough. You're not called to be the biggest and the best. Our journey may be called into the spotlight, like some of those people that were on stage at the Global Training Conference, but they weren't pursuing that spotlight. There's a difference. They were doing what they were called to do by God. And so I want you to remember, you are going to influence people. You are going to be in the spotlight one day. And that's where God's called you to be, right? God called David to be in that spotlight, but David wasn't pursuing it. He was just learning, loving, leading, and doing what he was called to do. Our role is obedience. God's role is the results. So remember that. God-sized dreamers trust. Stop doubting God's love. He loves you. You're wonderfully made. It says, I find it hard to believe that God really loves me. It's not about him. It's about me. It's insecurities, past wounds, believing I have to be perfect. We don't have to be perfect. You are loved way more than you know. You are amazing and you are wonderful. You are loved more than you know, more than you see, more than you've ever dared to dream. We cannot stop doubting that. We can be secure in love. And so we know and we rely on that love that God has for us. Be full of joy. Be full of love. And then number 9, embrace enough. It says in here, when you look in the mirror at your life and all you see is that I'm not good enough. Do you feel that way too? I know I do. When I looked in that VP room and I thought, gosh, I've been doing Arbonne for this long. I'm not good enough. I guess I'm not good enough to be a national vice president. And I thought, Christine, do not sabotage yourself. Your journey is for a reason. Your time is for such a time as this, to go through the different struggles and the trials so that you learn and you can help somebody else go through the same thing, because there will be somebody else that it takes that long to get to MVP too. And I thought, he made the hair on my head. And if he made the hair on my head, then he cares about all the things that I'm doing in my life. He made all of us, and he said, when he was done, that is very, very good. It's not because of who we are, but whose we are, right? whose we are. It's not because of what we've done to achieve it or anything like that. Your most valuable asset is your heart. And I want to share something. Valerie Gunther spoke on stage, and she said, she's amazing, by the way. If you ever can go on to YouTube and listen to ENVP Valerie Gunther, I think she's earned like 8 national vice presidents trips, the challenge trips all over the amazing world that she's been able to visit and see. And she has 2 little kids. She's been through a divorce. She's been remarried. She struggled. She was a teacher. She's had it rough. And yet, look what God did through her and what he's been able to accomplish and achieve. But Valerie said, don't make what's getting in your way become your way. Oh, so powerful, so amazing. I want you to write it down again. Don't make what's getting in your way become your way. You are created for something great. You are a God-sized dreamer, and you have the heart of a dreamer. I know it, and I see it, and I hear it in your voice, and because it scares you, right? And if it scares you, you know you're onto something. In the end of the book, it has a Go Deeper guide, and usually I open up this part of the call to somebody on the call to share. But this is a long chapter, and so I'm just going to ask you a couple things that I want you to write down and think about before I turn off the recording. And I want you to think about, where does God have you right now? And I want you to think, what helps you keep your heart open to God? And who are you encouraging? Those 3 things. And then I love what she has at the very bottom of page 65. It says, dream it and do it. Dream it and do it. Draw your circle of influence and write in names as well as how each person is connected to your God-sized dream. I'm going to read it again. Draw your circle of influence and write in the names of the people that are connected to your God-sized dream. Guys, I love you. I thank you for trusting me to lead you tonight and to guide you in this journey. I promise you won't be sorry. I just want you to know that you're going after a God-sized dream so that you can change other people's lives. And I want to encourage you to never, ever quit. I love you, and I'm going to turn off the recording.